Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. The kitchen was empty. Not just empty of food, but empty of warmth, of life, of the woman who had filled it for 8 years. Malcolm stood in the doorway, his mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled from water, while behind him, 20 of his relatives crowded into the hallway, their excited chatter dying down as they peered over his shoulders into the barren space. "Where is the food?" his Uncle Leonard asked, his usually jovial voice booming through the silence. "You said your wife was making that pot roast I love." Malcolm's face had gone gray. The dining table, which should have been groaning under the weight of his birthday feast, held only a single envelope with his name written in Janelle's neat handwriting. His younger sister Latoya pushed past him, grabbed the envelope, and tore it open before he could stop her. "Dear Malcolm," she read aloud, her voice growing quieter with each word. "As you requested 3 months ago, I am eating my own food. I hope you enjoy your birthday with your family. The keys are on the counter. Best wishes, Janelle." "What does that mean?" his mother Evelyn demanded, her eyes sharp as broken glass. "Malcolm, what did you say to your wife?" But Malcolm could not speak. He was staring at the kitchen counter, where a set of keys lay next to a simple gold wedding band, both catching the afternoon light streaming through the window. The window Janelle had insisted on when they bought this house in Charlotte because she loved how the sun hit the kitchen in the afternoons. The window she always kept spotless. The window she would never look through again. 3 months earlier, everything had seemed different. Or rather, Malcolm thought everything had been different. In reality, the cracks had been forming for far longer, invisible fault lines running through the foundation of their marriage. Janelle had been in this same kitchen, preparing Malcolm's lunch for work the way she did every morning. She had done it for 8 years, ever since they married right after she graduated from college. She had put her own career ambitions on hold, taking part-time jobs here and there, always arranging her schedule around his needs. Malcolm worked as a sales manager at an electronics company, and his schedule was demanding, or so he always said. That morning, he walked into the kitchen already dressed in one of his expensive suits, the one Janelle carefully had dry cleaned and pressed. "Morning," Malcolm said, barely looking up from his phone as he scrolled with his thumb. "Good morning, honey," Janelle replied, smiling as she packed his lunch into the insulated bag he preferred. "Turkey sandwich, apple slices, those granola bars you like. I am making pot roast tonight. Your favorite." Malcolm finally looked up from his phone, and something in his expression made Janelle's hand still. His face was hard, almost cruel, in a way she had never seen before. "About that," he said slowly. "We need to talk." Janelle set down the knife she had been using to cut the apple. Her heart was beating faster, though she did not know why. "All right," she said. "What is wrong?" "Nothing is wrong," Malcolm said, leaning against the counter with his arms crossed. "I have just been thinking. You're almost 30 now, Janelle. Do you not think it is time you stood on your own 2 feet? The words hit her like cold water. "What do you mean?" Janelle asked. "I mean, I have been supporting you for 8 years, Malcolm said. "I work hard every single day while you take these little part-time jobs that barely pay anything. I pay the mortgage, the car payments, all the bills." He shook his head. "I am tired of it." Janelle felt something crack inside her chest. "Malcolm, I have been supporting your career. You asked me to be flexible, to be available when you needed me to entertain clients, to host your work parties, too." "I did not ask you to be lazy," Malcolm interrupted, his voice sharp. "From this day forward, Janelle, you eat your own food. You pay your own way. I am done carrying you." The silence that followed was deafening. Janelle stared at her husband, this man she had loved since she was 21, this man she had built her entire adult life around, and she did not recognize him. "Is there someone else?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. Malcolm's eyes flickered just for a second, but it was enough. "Do not be dramatic," he said. "This is about you growing up." He grabbed his lunch bag, the one she had lovingly packed, slung it over his shoulder, and walked out. The front door slammed, and Janelle stood alone in the kitchen, her hands shaking. She did not cry. That was the strange part. She thought she would sob, collapse to the floor, plead with him to take it back, but instead she felt something else rising inside her. Something cold and clear and calculating. Janelle walked slowly into the living room and picked up Malcolm's laptop, the one he always left on the coffee table. She knew his password. He had never changed it because he never believed she would look. It took her less than 5 minutes to find the messages. Malcolm was not even careful. They were right there in his email, synced from his phone. Messages to someone named Tanisha from his office. Cannot wait to see you tonight, baby. My wife will not suspect anything. She is too busy playing housewife. You are so much more exciting than her. So independent, so ambitious. There were dozens of messages going back 6 months. 6 months of lies, 6 months of him coming home late smelling like perfume that was not hers, 6 months of working overtime. That was really dinners and hotel rooms with another woman. Janelle closed the laptop carefully, as if it were something fragile and poisonous. She walked back into the kitchen and looked around at the life she had built, at the curtains she had chosen, the dishes she had picked out, the spice rack she had organized. She made a decision. She was not going to scream. She was not going to confront him. She was not going to beg or cry or try to win him back. She was going to disappear. But first, she was going to plan. She was going to be smart. She was going to make sure that when she left on her terms, with her dignity intact and her future secure. Janelle pulled out her own laptop, the one Malcolm had bought her 2 Christmases ago and then mocked her for barely using. She opened an old folder and updated her resume for the first time in years. Skills that had collected dust on paper suddenly felt sharp again. By the time Malcolm came home that night, reeking of that same cheap floral perfume, Janelle had applied to 15 jobs. She greeted him with a smile. "How was work, honey?" she asked, her voice smooth. Malcolm looked at her suspiciously, as if he expected an accusation that never came. "Fine. Long day," he muttered. "I made pot roast," Janelle said pleasantly. "Your favorite." She watched him eat the dinner she had prepared, watched him scroll through his phone with a little smile on his face, probably texting Tanisha under the table. She watched and she planned. The next morning, Malcolm came into the kitchen and found Janelle already dressed, her hair neatly done, her expression calm. "I have been thinking about what you said," she told him. "You are right. I need to be more independent." Malcolm looked surprised, then pleased. "Good. It is about time," he said, grabbing the coffee she had made, as if he had not just shoved her out of their shared life the day before. "I am going to start looking for full-time work." "Really commit to it," Janelle said. "That is what I like to hear," Malcolm replied. He kissed her lightly on the cheek, already half turned toward the door. "What are you smiling about?" Malcolm asked when he noticed the faint curve of her lips. "Just happy you believe in me," Janelle lied smoothly. Over the next week, she kept up the act. She told Malcolm about applications she was starting, interviews she hoped to land someday. He barely listened, too distracted by his phone, by Tanisha, by his own arrogance. What Malcolm did not know was that Janelle had already received 3 callbacks. What he did not know was that she had opened a new bank account at a different bank, one he knew nothing about. What he did not know was that she was carefully documenting every penny in their joint account, every bill, every expense. What Malcolm did not know was going to destroy him. By the end of that first week, Janelle had a job interview at a tech company downtown called Brightline Data Solutions. They were searching for a financial analyst, and even though she had been out of the full-time workforce for years, her degree was strong and her references from her old positions were glowing. She went to the interview in a suit she found on clearance, careful not to use the joint credit card. She sat across from the hiring manager, a sharp-eyed woman named Regina, and answered every question with a confidence she had forgotten she possessed. "Why do you want this position?" Regina asked. Janelle thought about Malcolm, about Tanisha, about 8 years of making herself smaller. "Because I am ready to build something of my own," she said. Regina smiled. "When can you start?" 2 weeks later, on a Monday morning, Janelle sat in the spare bedroom of the house in Charlotte, now transformed into a makeshift office hidden behind Malcolm's old boxes and golf clubs. Her first day at Brightline was remote. Malcolm did not know, and he did not need to know. At 9 o'clock sharp, she logged into the company's systems, and Regina appeared on her screen with a warm smile. "Welcome to the team, Janelle. Ready for your first day?" "Absolutely," Janelle said, and this time she truly meant it. The work was challenging but engaging. Financial analysis, market research, detailed reports. It all woke up parts of her brain that had been hibernating for years. She worked straight through lunch, barely noticing the time. When 5 o'clock rolled around, she logged off, dismantled her temporary office, and wiped every trace of work from the spare room. Then she went to the kitchen and made dinner, the way Malcolm expected. When he came home at almost 10 o'clock, Smelling like perfume and lies, she smiled and asked how his project went. Complicated, Malcolm said shortly. I am tired. I am going to bed. He did not ask about her day. He did not ask how she had spent her time. He did not notice that her eyes were brighter, her movements more purposeful. This became the new routine. Malcolm would leave for work, often staying out late with Tanisha. Janelle would work her remote job, accomplishing more in 8 hours than she had in years. She was good at it. Regina praised her analysis in their second-week check-in. You are a natural at this, Regina said. Have you ever considered management? You have a strong sense for patterns and people. 2 weeks into her new job, Janelle received her first paycheck. She deposited it into her secret account and watched the numbers grow with quiet satisfaction. It was hers. She had earned it. Nobody could take it from her. Malcolm's behavior was getting worse. He had stopped bothering to hide Tanisha's perfume. He came home late, threw his shirt into the hamper, and headed straight to the shower. The collar of his shirts often had faint smears of lipstick that did not belong to Janelle. One evening, about 3 weeks after she started at Bright Line, Malcolm came home and announced, I am going out with the guys this weekend. Poker night. Janelle stood at the stove, stirring pasta sauce. All right. Have fun, she said mildly. Malcolm hesitated. You do not mind? Why would I mind? Janelle asked. You work hard. You deserve time with your friends. He studied her suspiciously. You are being strange. I am being supportive, Janelle said, her tone even. Is that not what you wanted? Malcolm grunted and walked away. There was no poker night. Janelle knew, because she had seen messages about a cabin rental Tanisha had booked for the weekend. While Malcolm was gone, Janelle went to the bank. She sat down with a financial advisor, a middle-aged man named Mr. Coleman, and calmly laid out what she wanted. You want to remove yourself from all joint accounts? He repeated. Yes, Janelle said. And I want to understand exactly what I am responsible for and what I am not. Mr. Coleman pulled up their records. You are both on the checking account, the savings account, and 3 credit cards. The mortgage and car payments come from the checking account. If I remove myself from the checking and savings accounts, am I still responsible for the mortgage? Janelle asked. Not unless your name is on the mortgage itself, Mr. Coleman replied. Is it? Janelle thought back to when they bought the house 5 years earlier. Malcolm had insisted on handling everything. I do not think so. He handled all the paperwork, she said. Mr. Coleman typed for a moment. No, the mortgage is only in his name. Same with both car loans, he confirmed. A weight lifted from Janelle's shoulders. So if I remove myself from the joint accounts, I am only removing access to money, not removing responsibility for those debts, she said. Correct, Mr. Coleman said. The credit cards are more complicated, but the mortgage and car loans are his alone. Then I would like to remove myself from the checking and savings accounts, Janelle said. Not the credit cards yet, just the accounts. Mr. Coleman helped her fill out the paperwork. This will take a few days to process. Are you sure? He asked gently. I have never been more sure, Janelle replied. When Malcolm came home from his poker weekend on Sunday evening, Janelle was in the kitchen, the picture of calm. She looked at the relaxed expression on his face, at the faint mark on his neck he had tried to hide with his collar. How was poker? She asked. Great. I won $200, Malcolm said with a grin. That is wonderful, Janelle responded, setting a plate in front of him. Her smile did not reach her eyes, but he did not notice. 3 days later, Malcolm was sitting in the living room frowning at his laptop when Janelle came in. Everything all right? She asked. The checking account is low, Malcolm said. Did you take money out? Janelle's heart skipped a beat, but she kept her expression neutral. No, my name is not even on that account anymore, she said. Malcolm's head snapped up. What? I removed myself from our joint accounts last week, Janelle said calmly. You said you wanted us to be financially independent. I thought it was the right thing to do. You cannot just remove yourself without telling me, Malcolm protested, his voice rising. The bank said I could, Janelle replied. They were my accounts too. I had every right to take my name off. Malcolm stood, his face flushed with anger. This is ridiculous. You are being petty. I am being independent, Janelle corrected. Is that not what you insisted on? His eyes narrowed. Are you trying to punish me? If the account is low, perhaps you should look at where you have been spending, Janelle said. That is basic financial responsibility. The implication hung in the air between them. Malcolm's face went from red to pale. Did she know about the dinners, the gifts, the hotel stays? I do not know what you are suggesting, he said carefully. I am not suggesting anything, Janelle replied. I am simply saying that if money is missing, you should check your statements. She walked past him into the kitchen, her hands shaking slightly where he could not see. It was the first crack in her careful facade, and she knew it. That night, Malcolm slept in the guest room, claiming he needed to work late on his laptop. Janelle knew he was probably messaging Tanisha and complaining about his unreasonable wife. Let him complain. She had more important things to focus on. Her next paycheck was due in 3 days. With that deposit and the bonus she earned on a client project, she would have nearly $6,000 in her private account. Enough for first and last month's rent, deposits on utilities, and a cushion to breathe. Late that night, she sat at her own laptop, browsing apartment listings in Charlotte. She found a one-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood across town, recently renovated, with good light and hardwood floors. She bookmarked the listing and smiled. Everything was falling into place. By week 7, Janelle had perfected the art of invisibility. Every morning she woke up before Malcolm. She made breakfast for herself, but not for him. When he complained, she reminded him gently that independence meant taking care of himself. Once he left, she waited 15 minutes, then set up her workspace in the spare room and logged into Brightline. Her days were filled with spreadsheets, presentations, and strategy meetings. Her mind soared. Regina checked in again during their weekly one-on-one. You are doing excellent work, Janelle, she said. There is a training program in advanced predictive analytics starting next month. It leads to a significant salary increase. I would like to nominate you. I would be honored, Janelle said, feeling warmth spread through her chest. In the afternoons, she dismantled all evidence of her job, wiped down the desk, tucked her laptop away, and went back to the version of herself Malcolm thought he knew. But the truth was, he no longer knew her at all. One evening in her 8th week at Brightline, Malcolm came home earlier than usual and caught a glimpse of a notebook on the kitchen counter where Janelle had been reviewing project notes. What is that? He asked, pointing. Just some planning, Janelle said casually, slipping it into her bag. Planning for what? Malcolm pressed. Shopping lists? Budgets. Budgeting is always wise, Janelle said. Malcolm snorted. You are worried about money now? You should have thought about that before you pulled your name off the accounts. The irony nearly made her laugh. He was the one draining the joint funds. She had seen the statements before leaving. Expensive restaurants, jewelry boutiques, a weekend at a bed and breakfast, all charged to cards that still bore her name. I am managing, she replied. Are you? Malcolm's expression darkened, but before he could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, a small, pleased smile flickering over his face, and turned away. A few days later, Malcolm announced that he might be getting a promotion. Regional manager, he said, puffing up a little. More money, better benefits, maybe even a company car. That is good news, Janelle said. It will mean more nights away, more travel, more client dinners, Malcolm said. You would be all right with that, since you are so independent now? Translation. He wanted permission to spend even more time with Tanisha. I will be fine, Janelle replied. You should focus on your career. He looked almost disappointed, as if he had hoped she might beg him to stay home. That moment passed quickly. He turned his attention back to his phone. The following week, Malcolm claimed he would be out of town for a work conference for 3 days. Janelle already knew the real conference was not until the next month. She had seen the email on his laptop. Have a good trip, she said as he packed his bag. You are going to be all right here alone, he asked. I will be more than all right, Janelle said. The moment his car turned the corner, she felt her lungs expand. She spent the entire weekend visiting apartments, including the one she had seen online. The landlord, Mr. Harrison, was an older man with kind eyes and a practical manner. Looking for immediate move-in? He asked as he walked her through the bright entryway and the small balcony overlooking a tree-lined street. Within the next month or two, Janelle said carefully. Mr. Harrison looked at her, then said, Running from something? His tone was direct but not unkind. I am running toward something, Janelle said. My independence. He nodded. I have 3 daughters. 2 of them had to do the same thing. Left bad situations, started fresh. If you show me proof of income and pay first and last month's rent plus security, I will hand you the keys. I do not need a speech. I just need to know you can pay and will not cause trouble. I can do that, Janelle said. She filled out the application right there, using her work email and her new bank account. She did not mention Malcolm. She did not mention her current address. This apartment would be entirely hers. Mr. Harrison called back the next day. "You are approved," he said. "When do you want to move in?" Janelle thought of Malcolm's birthday, 3 weeks away. She thought about the party he was already planning, the one he had announced she would cook for. "Can I move in 3 weeks from today?" she asked. "You can move in whenever you like," he said. "The place is ready." 3 weeks later, the lease was signed, the deposit paid, and the keys resting in her pocket like a quiet promise. Around the same time, Malcolm stood in the living room, scrolling on his phone. "My birthday is coming up," he said. "I want to do something big this year. I am inviting the whole family. My parents, my sisters, Uncle Leonard and Aunt Valerie, the cousins. Maybe 20 people, maybe more." "That is a lot of people," Janelle said. "You have cooked for that many before," Malcolm replied. "Remember Thanksgiving 3 years ago?" She remembered. 2 days of cooking, hours of cleaning. Malcolm sprawled on the couch watching football while she served 23 people and cleaned up alone. "I remember," Janelle said quietly. "So you will do your pot roast," Malcolm continued, oblivious. "The mac and cheese everyone loves. Those rolls. Maybe a couple of pies. Uncle Leonard always asks about your pot roast. He talks about it for months." "We will see," Janelle said. Malcolm frowned. "What do you mean, we will see?" "It is my birthday, Janelle. I am not asking for much." Not asking for much. He was asking her to work like a caterer for his entire family while he took all the credit. "I will think about it," Janelle said. Over the next 2 weeks, he brought up the party constantly, adding more relatives, describing decorations, talking about how impressed everyone would be. He never once asked whether she wanted to do it. Meanwhile, Janelle's plan moved forward. She rented a small storage unit and began quietly packing boxes labeled with harmless phrases like winter clothes and old textbooks. She moved her grandmother's quilt, her favorite books, the good towels, and her family photo albums out of the house. The week before Malcolm's birthday, Janelle visited a lawyer whose office overlooked a busy street in Charlotte. The lawyer, Ms. Porter, specialized in straightforward divorces. Janelle brought everything: copies of text messages, account summaries, proof of her new job, documentation that the house and car loans were solely in Malcolm's name. "This should be simple," Ms. Porter said after reviewing the file. "No children, assets mostly separate, clear proof of infidelity. You will not owe him anything. He will keep the debts that are already in his name." "Good," Janelle said. "I want to file on Monday. The Monday after his birthday." Ms. Porter lifted an eyebrow. "Any particular reason?" "Consider it a memorable gift," Janelle said. 2 days before the party, Janelle received a call from an unfamiliar local number. "Hello," she answered. "Is this Janelle? Married to Malcolm?" a soft, hesitant voice asked. "Yes," Janelle said cautiously. "Who is this?" "My name is Brittany," the woman said. "I work in accounting at Malcolm's company. I think you should know something." Janelle's stomach tightened. "All right," she said. "I am listening." "I handle expense reports," Brittany said. "Your husband has been submitting a lot of them, and some of the charges stood out. Restaurants, hotels, gifts. He charges them to the company card, then reimburses them through what appears to be a joint checking account." "Reimburses from where?" Janelle asked, her voice suddenly very calm. "From that joint account, not his personal funds," Brittany replied. "That means the company pays him back, and your shared money covers the original charges. It is essentially a reimbursement loop. It is fraud." "How much?" Janelle asked. "Over the last 6 months, about $15,000, Brittany said quietly. $15,000. No wonder the account had always been low. Malcolm was not only spending on Tanisha. He was stealing from both the company and from Janelle. "Why are you telling me this?" Janelle asked. "I saw you at the company picnic last year," Brittany said. "You seemed kind. Later, I overheard Malcolm telling someone you were dead weight, that you never contributed anything. But the entire time, he has been draining money you helped keep in that account. I am required to report this on Monday, but I wanted you to be prepared." "Monday," Janelle repeated. Malcolm's birthday party was on Sunday. By Monday, he would be facing more than a ruined celebration. "Thank you, Brittany," she said. "I am sorry you have to be in the middle of this." "I am sorry too," Brittany said. "Take care of yourself." After she hung up, Janelle sat alone in the spare room, listening to the hum of the air conditioner. $15,000. It turned out that all along, Malcolm had been building his own destruction brick by brick. That evening, Malcolm came home in high spirits. "Tomorrow is going to be busy," he said. "I have to pick up decorations and some things for the party. You got the groceries for the food, right?" "Not yet," Janelle said. Malcolm's mood darkened. "Janelle, the party is in 2 days. You need to get the food." "You are right," Janelle said mildly. "I will handle it tomorrow." She would not. Tomorrow she would move into her apartment. Saturday morning, Malcolm left early. "I am going to be out most of the day," he said. "I will see you tonight." "See you," Janelle replied. As soon as his car disappeared, she went to work. She had already rented a small moving truck. Trips between the house, the storage unit, and the new apartment blurred into a steady rhythm. She moved only what truly belonged to her. Clothing, books, her grandmother's quilt, her laptop, a few dishes that were gifts from her family. She left the furniture, the big television, the expensive sound system. All of it Malcolm's, all of it tied to debts in his name. By early afternoon, the apartment in Charlotte was no longer empty. It was modest but bright, with a small welcome basket Mr. Harrison had left on the counter and a handwritten note that read, "Congratulations on your fresh start." Janelle unpacked just enough to make the space feel real. Clothes in the closet, books on the shelves, quilt on the bed. Before sunset, she drove back to the house one last time. Her final act took place in the kitchen. She wrote a simple note and left it on the dining table next to her wedding ring and the house keys. The ring glinted briefly in the light. "From this day forward, you eat your own food. I hope you enjoy your birthday with your family. Best wishes, Janelle," she wrote. She thought about adding more, about mentioning Tanisha, the fraud, the months of lies. In the end, she decided silence would speak louder. Let him realize the full extent of what he had done when no one was there to soften the blow. Janelle took one last look around the house that had been more cage than home. Then she stepped outside, locked the door, and walked away. That night, in her new apartment, she ordered pizza and ate it on her second-hand couch while watching whatever she wanted on television. Her phone buzzed once with a message from Regina. "Hope you are enjoying your weekend. Team lead position opens next week. You should apply." Janelle smiled. Team lead. Higher pay, more responsibility, more proof she had never been dead weight. Sunday morning dawned bright over Charlotte. Malcolm woke up at 9 o'clock, stretched, and reached for Janelle's side of the bed out of habit. It was empty and cold. "Janelle," he called. No answer. He went downstairs, expecting to see her in the kitchen. Instead, he found a silent, spotless room. No pots on the stove. No ingredients laid out. No scent of anything cooking. "Janelle," he called again louder. He checked the living room, the dining room, the spare room. Her car was gone from the driveway. A little knot of unease formed in his chest, but he forced himself to be rational. She was probably out shopping for last-minute ingredients. He pulled out his phone. No messages from her. He sent a text. "Where are you? Party starts in 5 hours. No response. He called. The phone rang once, then went to voicemail. Malcolm began to walk through the house with new eyes. In the bedroom closet, Janelle's favorite sweaters were missing. Her good shoes were gone. The drawers in her dresser were half empty. In the bathroom, her toothbrush and lotions were no longer there. "No," he whispered. "No. No." Then he saw the envelope on the dining table, sitting among the unopened party decorations. His name was written across the front in Janelle's familiar handwriting. Next to it sat the keys and the wedding ring. His hands shook as he opened the envelope and read the short message. He read it twice, 3 times, as if the words might rearrange themselves. They did not. She was gone. She had left him on his birthday. She had left him with an empty kitchen and a house full of expectations. His phone rang. It was his mother. "Happy birthday, baby," Evelyn said. "We are leaving in an hour. Should we bring anything?" Malcolm swallowed hard. "Mom, I need to call you back," he said. "Is everything all right?" "You sound strange," she pressed. "I just need to call you back," he repeated and hung up before she could ask more. He tried calling Janelle again. Straight to voicemail. He texted once, twice, then half a dozen times. "This is not funny. Call me back now. My family is coming. You are embarrassing me. At least tell me where you are." None of the messages delivered. At some point that morning, Janelle blocked him. Malcolm stared at the bare counters and empty stove. Could he throw something together in a few hours? Could he order catering? Everything decent would be booked. The menu his family expected, Janelle's pot roast, her mac and cheese, her rolls, existed only in memory. Humiliation rose in his throat like bile. If he canceled the party, everyone would ask why. He would have to admit Janelle left him. They would ask what he had done. His mother called again. This time he answered on the second ring. "What is going on?" she demanded. "Why did you hang up on me?" "There is a problem with the party," Malcolm said. His voice sounded thin in his own ears. "What kind of problem?" Evelyn asked. "Janelle is not here," he said. "What do you mean she is not there?" his mother said slowly. "Where is she?" "I do not know," Malcolm said. "She left a note. She left me." There was a long silence. "What did you do?" his mother asked, her tone suddenly cold. "I did not do anything," Malcolm protested automatically. "Malcolm, do not insult my intelligence," Evelyn said. "Janelle would not walk out for no reason. What did you do?" "We just have been having problems," Malcolm said weakly. "Problems that you did not think to mention until now?" Evelyn said. "We are already on our way. We will talk when we get there." She hung up. A moment later, his sisters began texting. "Mom says the party is cancelled." "What happened? Where is Janelle? Is she all right?" "Malcolm, what did you do?" In her new apartment across town, Janelle made herself breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, coffee. She turned her phone on long enough to see dozens of missed calls and messages from Malcolm and his family. She listened to one voicemail from Evelyn, then calmly blocked every number connected to that house. "You deserve peace," she murmured to herself. Later that afternoon, she started a pot roast in her own small kitchen. The same recipe Malcolm's family loved, but this time every single bite would be hers. Back at the house, cars began pulling into the driveway, right on schedule. Malcolm watched from the front window as his parents, his sisters, and his relatives stepped out carrying wrapped gifts and smiling. He opened the door before they could knock. "Thank you for coming," he said weakly. "But maybe we should reschedule." "Nonsense," Evelyn said, pushing past him. "We drove all this way. We are here." The family streamed in behind her, their expressions shifting as they realized there were no food smells, no table set, no sign of Janelle. "Where is Janelle?" Aunt Valerie asked. "I wanted to tell her how much I liked that stuffing she made last Thanksgiving." Malcolm's throat felt tight. "She is not here," he said. "Out shopping?" Uncle Leonard asked. "We can wait." "No," Malcolm said. "She left. This morning. She moved out." The room went silent. "On your birthday?" his sister Yvonne said. "Janelle would not do that without a reason." "What happened?" Latoya asked. "Tell the truth." "We have been having problems," Malcolm repeated. "It is complicated." "Complicated how?" his father Harold asked quietly. Something specific happened. Malcolm felt like the room was closing in on him. He was surrounded by the people who had watched him grow up, the ones who knew his habits, his excuses. "Malcolm," Evelyn said, stepping closer. "Did you cheat on her?" "No," he said too quickly. His mother's eyes narrowed. She had always known when he was lying. "Did you sleep with someone else while you were married to Janelle?" Yvonne asked. "Yes or no?" Malcolm could not bring himself to answer. The silence said enough. "Oh my God," Latoya said. "You cheated on Janelle." "It is not that simple," Malcolm protested. "It is exactly that simple," Jennifer said. "She took care of you for 8 years. She put her career on hold for your sake. And you stepped out on her?" "She changed," Malcolm muttered. "She stopped being ambitious. She stopped chasing her own career because you asked her to," Evelyn said. "You wanted her schedule open for your convenience. For your dinners. For your company. You liked having someone at home making your life easy." Malcolm thought of the morning he told Janelle to eat her own food. The sentence echoed in his mind like something shouted down a well. "We just grew apart," he tried again. "Growing apart does not end with someone leaving a note and an empty ring on the table," Harold said. "That is not distance. That is a decision." Aunt Valerie glanced toward the kitchen. "Where is the food, Malcolm?" "You told everyone Janelle was making her pot roast." Malcolm felt his face burn. "There is no food," he admitted. "I thought she would cook. I assumed she would be here." The silence that followed was heavy and condemning. "Let me understand," Latoya said slowly. "You cheated on your wife, treated her badly, and still expected her to cook a feast for you and your entire family. And when she left, you did not even warn us before we drove all the way here," Yvonne added. "I did not know she would really leave," Malcolm said. "I thought she was bluffing." "Bluffing?" Evelyn repeated, her voice sharp as glass. "Your wife packed her belongings, took her ring off, and walked out. That is not a bluff. That is someone who is finished." Uncle Leonard picked up the gift bag he had brought. "I think we are going to go," he said. "This is not a birthday party. This is a mess you created." One by one, Malcolm's family began to leave. His mother was last. She paused in the doorway and turned back to him. "You have a lot of growing up to do," she said. "And you are going to do it without Janelle. She is done raising you." The door closed behind her. Malcolm stood alone in a house decorated for a celebration that had never existed. Monday morning arrived with harsh clarity. Malcolm woke up on the couch, surrounded by deflated balloons and unused paper plates. His head throbbed, his phone was dead, and the house was oppressively quiet. He plugged in his phone and watched messages pour in, angry texts from his sisters, a single line from his mother. "We will talk when you are ready to be honest." There was nothing from Janelle. He showered, dressed, and drove to work, hoping a normal day might distract him. As soon as he walked into the office, his boss, Mr. Whitaker, appeared in the hallway. "Malcolm," he said. "My office. Now." The tone made Malcolm's stomach twist. He followed him in and sat. Mr. Whitaker remained standing. "I am going to ask you something," Mr. Whitaker said. "Have you been submitting personal expenses for reimbursement through company accounts?" Malcolm felt the floor tilt beneath him. "What?" "Our accounting department flagged several irregularities," Mr. Whitaker said. "Restaurants, hotels, purchases that do not match your travel or client logs. It looks like you have been pocketing reimbursement money while using your joint checking account to cover the original charges." "I can explain," Malcolm said. "I was paying the company back. From the same account you share with your wife," Mr. Whitaker said. "That is not repayment. That is fraud." "I made a mistake," Malcolm said. "I can pay it all back." "You will not have the chance," Mr. Whitaker replied. "You are terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you out. We are also reporting this to law enforcement. The total amount is $15,000. The word terminated tore through Malcolm's last illusions. "What about the regional manager position?" he asked, because his brain could not grasp anything else. Mr. Whitaker stared at him. "You truly thought we would promote someone our own accountants are preparing a fraud report on?" he asked. 10 minutes later, Malcolm stood outside the building with a cardboard box of desk items in his arms and no job. He sat in his car and called Tanisha. "I just got fired," he said when she answered. "Fired?" she repeated. "For what?" "They said I committed fraud," Malcolm said. "Those dinners, those hotels, the gifts I bought you, I ran them through the company accounts. They found out." There was a long pause. "You used stolen money to buy me things?" Tanisha said. Her voice had changed. "It was not stolen," Malcolm insisted. "I was going to make it right. If you were cheating your own company, what else were you lying about?" Tanisha asked. "What about your wife? You told me you were handling things." Malcolm hesitated. He thought about telling her Janelle had left him first, but somehow that did not sound like the triumph he had imagined. "It is complicated," he said. "Everything with you is complicated," Tanisha said flatly. "I cannot be involved with someone who is unemployed and facing charges. Do not call me again." The line went dead. By the time Malcolm drove back to the house, a thick envelope from Ms. Porter's office waited in the mailbox. He sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by faded decorations, and read the divorce papers. Janelle wanted nothing from him. No share of the house, no car, no claim to his accounts. She wanted only her freedom. Attached to the paperwork were printed screenshots of his messages with Tanisha. She had known everything. For months. And instead of screaming, she had planned. His phone rang again. This time it was a lawyer assigned to represent him in the fraud case. "The prosecutor's office is pressing charges," the lawyer said. "Best case, you plead guilty, pay restitution, and accept probation. You will have a criminal record." Malcolm stared at the wall as the words washed over him. No job. No wife. No girlfriend. No respect from his family. A criminal case pending. Weeks blurred into months. Malcolm lost the house to foreclosure. He moved into his parents' small place and took a job at a call center, answering phones for customers who did not know or care who he had been. The man who saw himself as a rising star was reduced to reading scripts. Janelle, meanwhile, built something new. She applied for and received the team lead position at Brightline. Her pay increased. Her responsibilities grew. Her days were full of strategy meetings, mentoring junior analysts, and presenting to executives who respected what she brought to the table. Regina took her out to lunch to celebrate. "You earned this," she said. "I am recommending you for the leadership development program next quarter." Janelle's apartment transformed. Plants flourished on the balcony. Art she chose hung on the walls. A second-hand bookshelf groaned under the weight of novels, biographies, and technical texts she actually enjoyed reading. One afternoon, Regina messaged her. "Free for lunch? I want you to meet someone." At a small cafe downtown, Regina introduced her to a tall architect with kind eyes and an easy smile. "Janelle, this is Jerome," she said. "He is designing our new office." "Jerome, this is the analytics lead I keep bragging about." "Nice to meet you," Jerome said, standing to shake Janelle's hand. "Regina has said many good things about you." "Nice to meet you too," Janelle replied. Lunch began as a work conversation about data-driven office design, but flowed into stories about childhood neighborhoods, favorite books, and the comfort of quiet mornings. "The best spaces make people feel like they can breathe," Jerome said. Safe, comfortable, and inspired at the same time. Janelle thought about her apartment, about how it felt to open her own door and know everything inside was hers. "I know exactly what you mean," she said. As they walked back to their offices, Jerome hesitated. "This might be forward," he said, "but would you be interested in getting coffee sometime, outside of work?" Janelle considered it. For a moment, shadows of the past flickered across her mind. Malcolm's hard face in the kitchen, the empty ring on the table. Then she thought of the life she had built, the stability she had carved out, the woman she had become. "I would," she said. "Coffee sounds nice." Over the next few months, they met on weekends at a cafe by the river, then at each other's apartments for simple dinners. Jerome never pushed. He did not expect her to fold herself into his schedule or give up her ambitions. He asked about her projects, listened to her answers, and celebrated her wins without trying to claim them. "I like the way your eyes light up when you talk about your work," he told her one evening as they sat on her balcony watching the city lights appear one by one. Janelle blinked, surprised by the sudden sting in her eyes. Malcolm had never noticed. "Thank you," she said softly, "for seeing me." "That part is easy," Jerome said. "You are not exactly subtle." Nearly a year after she left Malcolm, on a quiet evening in October, Janelle ran into him at a grocery store. She was picking out vegetables for a meal she planned to cook with Jerome when she heard a hesitant voice behind her. "Janelle." She turned. Malcolm stood there, thinner than she remembered, his shoulders rounded. He looked older, not in years but in defeat. "Hello, Malcolm," she said. Her tone was polite, nothing more. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Just for a minute." Janelle glanced at the time on her phone, then at the cart of ingredients that belonged to her current life. "1 minute," she said. Malcolm took a breath. "I was wrong," he said. "About everything. The way I treated you, the affair, the things I said. I took you for granted. I did not understand what I had until it was gone." Janelle said nothing. "I am in therapy now," Malcolm added. "I am trying to understand why I was like that." "That is good," Janelle said. "I hope you keep doing the work." "I wanted to ask if maybe we could," he began. "No," Janelle said gently but firmly. "Whatever you are about to ask, the answer is no. I am not going back. I am not interested in being friends. That season of my life is over." Malcolm swallowed. "You look happy," he said. "Really happy." "I am," Janelle replied. "And I want to stay that way." He nodded slowly. "I am glad you are all right," he said. "I wish you well, Malcolm," Janelle said. "Truly. But this is goodbye." She walked away, pushing her cart down the aisle, leaving him standing between rows of canned soup and boxed pasta, holding nothing. She did not look back. That evening, Jerome arrived at her apartment carrying flowers and a bottle of sparkling cider. They cooked together, laughing when the sauce splattered and teasing each other about their very different chopping styles. After dinner, they sat on the balcony with blankets draped over their legs, watching the city. Janelle told him about running into Malcolm. "Are you all right?" Jerome asked, squeezing her hand. "I am more than all right," Janelle said. "It felt like closing a door I should have closed long ago." "Then I am glad it happened," Jerome said. "As long as you are not hurting." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I am not," she said. "I am free." Months passed. Janelle received another promotion, this time to senior team lead, with another raise and more influence in the company. Later, when Regina announced her plans to retire, she recommended Janelle as her successor. Janelle became the youngest director in Brightline's history. Her workdays grew busier, but they were filled with decisions she had once only dreamed of making. She hired new analysts, expanded training programs, and negotiated contracts that changed the trajectory of the team. On the anniversary of the day she walked out of the house in Charlotte, Janelle booked a table at one of the nicest restaurants in the city. She went alone, dressed in a simple but elegant dress she had bought with her own money. She ordered exactly what she wanted without checking the prices, enjoyed every course, and paid the bill herself. When she arrived back at her apartment, Jerome was waiting with flowers and a quiet smile, already knowing what the date meant to her. They stood on the balcony together, the cool air brushing against their faces, the city glowing below them. Janelle thought of the woman she had been in that kitchen 3 years earlier, shaking hands, a knife on the cutting board, a husband telling her to eat her own food. She had taken those words, turned them inside out, and built an entire life around them. She had learned to earn her own money, to make her own decisions, to choose her own companions, to cook her own pot roast for herself and whoever she invited to share it. "What are you thinking about?" Jerome asked. Janelle smiled. "How sometimes the best revenge is not dramatic," she said. "It is just living well." Jerome glanced at the apartment behind them, at the city lights, at her relaxed posture. "Is this living well?" he asked. "Yes," Janelle said. "This is exactly what living well looks like." If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.